Hi everyone, I'm Barkha Dutt, and as usual we're keeping it simple. Today we are looking at the facts and the aftermath of the dramatic arrest of P Chidambaram, former finance and home minister. The Congress party has thrown its weight behind their colleague, but has the Congress ended up mishandling this and actually therefore got even more of a knockback than the arrest would have led to? The fact of the matter is that Mr. Chidambaram was not accessible for 24 hours, and then he did resurface at the Congress headquarters. The party gave him a forum from which to talk about the hand of liberty. The Supreme Court will now decide whether the former minister gets a bail or not. The basic charge, of course, is that Mr. Chidambaram, as finance minister, gave certain FIPB clearances to companies, which then gave kickbacks to his son Karti Chidambaram. In particular, the INX media case is the one that has got him arrested, and the agencies are also probing the Aircel Maxis case and several other cases. So the big question is whether the Congress has ended up mishandling the aftermath of the Chidambaram arrest. And on this and on all the charges, here's a Mojo exclusive. I spoke to Chidambaram's son, Karti Chidambaram, who himself has been summoned and questioned multiple times by the ED and the CBI.
Karti Chidambaram, let me start by asking you, a number of people believe that Mr. Chidambaram did himself no favors by literally going underground for about 24 hours. How would you describe that time when he was not accessible?
Why should he have been accessible? There was no direction from any court. The court on Tuesday just turned down his anticipatory plea, which is filed in May of 2017, and for which arguments were concluded in January of 2018, and arguments were concluded in January of 2019. And the judgment was reserved for 7 months. The judgment just turned down an anticipatory bail plea. The judgment did not direct him to appear before anybody or make himself available to anybody. So he was at complete liberty to do what as he pleased. Where is this question of underground? And
Once the notice was pasted, though, at his residence in Jorbagh in Delhi, do you not believe that he should have surfaced much earlier than he finally did at the Congress headquarters?
But he wasn't at home at the time when the notice was given. And secondly, do read the notice. The notice said, please appear within 2 hours. I have been summoned by the ED and the CBI over 20 times. They've never given me 2-hour notice. So what if I was in Madras? Will they give me 2 hours notice to appear in Delhi? I must take a supersonic flight to come to Delhi then. I mean, how does this work? I mean, and what was the tearing hurry to come and paste the notice at 11 p.m. without telling under what section of law they were asking him to come there, to which the lawyer had replied. So I think, you're just making it sound as if he was fleeing from some sort of a legal diktat which was given to him. That is not true. He has appeared in every summons. The CBI has only summoned him once before. That was in June of 2018. And the ED has summoned him a number of times after that. And he's up every single time. So where is this non-compliance or being underground or something like that? These are all, I think, unfounded allegations.
What about the images that were beamed out across television channels of CBI officials actually scaling the wall, the gates being locked? How did that help you guys?
I don't know why they had to scale the walls. My father doesn't have much staff there, and he had just come home and he was inside the house. So unless how does he come to open the front gate, and you have to give him adequate time to come and open the front gate? I do not know. And this is complete drama. This was done for the voyeuristic pleasure of somebody, and this is drama made for television. That's all. This is completely unnecessary. Was he barricading himself with weapons? So these guys had to scale the walls and all and go and serve him a summons or to take him to custody. This is completely unnecessary.
Are you saying the gates were not locked and the CBI and the ED were not barred from entering the residence?
No, not at all. My father has got, father stays by himself. My mother and I were in Madras. I came in this morning. My mother came in late last night. He's got one staff member. He himself in the house. What else can he do? I mean, you are staying by yourself. You will close the front door. That's normal. It's normal practice. Nobody was barricading himself or something like that. What is this all about?
Now, can you respond on the actual allegation, because it links to you? The basic heart of the allegation is that you have been, your companies or companies you have controlled in the past have been a conduit for money from companies that have received FIPB clearance from Mr. Chidambaram as minister.
Nothing can be more absurd. Let's get into the facts of this case, or the alleged facts of this case. These events apparently took place in 2008, for which an FIR was filed in 2017. I have been raided 4 times. I've been summoned 20 times. I was in CBI custody for 11 days. They have summoned and questioned everybody, even remotely connected to me. They still don't have a charge sheet. I have never met anybody connected to INX. I have never met Indrani Mukherjee. I have never met Peter Mukherjee. The first and only time I've seen Indrani Mukherjee was when the CBI took me to Baikola jail to confront me with her. I have never had any interactions directly or indirectly with anybody connected to INX. I know nothing about INX. I know nothing about FIPB. I have never met a single official who's part of the FIPB. I do not know what the FIPB does. I don't know its processes. I don't know its procedures. The judgment of the High Court of March 23rd, 2018, where everybody is now tom-tomming this judgment of the High Court of August 20th. They must read the judgment of March 23rd, 2018, which grants me bail. The Honorable Justice R.S. Garg says that nobody in the FIPB ever claimed that even seen me or knows me. This is in para 50. So this is a non-case. This is just a merely trumped-up charge, which is just done to harass my father, and I'm just collateral damage along the way.
Now, the Enforcement Directorate has told journalists that Karti Chidambaram, that is you, has bought a tennis club in Spain, cottages in Britain, that the money links back to some of the companies that the FIPB clearance was given for.
If the ED has got such proof, and if they think this is the source of funds for assets which are there apparently globally, they must file a case. They must file a charge sheet. Either they must file a case in this case, or they must give it to the income tax to file a disproportionate assets case. One of the two must happen. Without filing a case, just to keep on feeding journalists through unnamed sources is not right. Unless you file a charge sheet against me, how do I answer it? Unless you give me a show cause. I am in public life. I am an MP. My assets and liabilities are there in the public domain. If I have any asset or any asset which is not declared, you could even get me disqualified from the Lok Sabha.
So you are at the moment neither confirming nor denying this. You're saying first file the charge sheet.
Confirming what? My assets are clear. I do not own a cottage or a tennis club. I don't own any of the things. Whatever I own is there in my affidavit. Of course, I have overseas investments. Of course, I have overseas property. But what I have is there in my assets and liability. You can't be telling me now to prove that you don't own something. How can I do that? If you tell me to prove that you don't own the White House, how do I do that? Please tell me that.
The other charge is that you initially controlled a company, Advantage Strategic, which was then transferred to your friends who willed its assets to your daughter, which is Mr. Chidambaram's granddaughter. How do you respond to that charge?
See, my daughter is 18 years old. No property has been bequeathed to her. You can look at her tax returns to see whether anybody has bequeathed any property to her. No property has been transmitted to her. So these are all absurd charges. First, what is this case? This case is about me influencing FIPB officials, isn't it? That's the case. If you're going to talk about something, I have disproportionate assets to known source of income, that's a different case. If you're talking about me influencing FIPB officials, I think the first step is to say, what is the error on the FIPB and who is the official I influenced to take that erroneous decision or a malified decision? That's the case. To say that, you have friends who have companies and all that is all completely extraneous to the facts of this case. If you think there's a separate case, then you must charge me on the separate case saying you have assets disproportionate to your own source of income and ask me to explain that. Or the income tax to send me a notice. Every year my tax returns are scrutinized. In fact, I'm getting a refund every year from the income tax department.
Let me ask you finally about this case itself. The Enforcement Directorate is again quoting Indrani Mukherjee to say that she named two firms you've been associated with, Chess Management and Advantage Strategic, as possible conduits for payments as a kind of quid pro quo for the FIPB clearance to INX Media.
But if she's quoting them, and simply say, you this kind of money, it must have come through banking channels, they must give those details and file the charge sheet. So what is possible sources? Possible conduits. If it is either a conduit or it's not a conduit. If it's a conduit and if those companies can't explain the source of money, you must send a notice and then prosecute these companies and the promoters and the directors of these companies. Anyway, I'm only a director of one company. The other company is owned by my friend. So if there is anything, we must just prosecute. What is this constantly feeding, unnamed sources, innuendo and gossip into the media? Today I read that there is a company of mine which has got 300 crores deposits. I wish I had a company which has 300 crores of deposits. I mean, that is a lead headline in one of the papers.
But they say these companies were yours that you transferred to your friends who in turn transferred them to your daughter.
As I said, my daughter's tax returns are also there. See whether she owns any companies other than what she has. My daughter's 18 years old. Please. Nothing has been bequeathed to her. She has no property which has been transmitted to her other than from her own family lineal properties. Nothing else is there for her.
What would you say finally, Karti? What is the strategy of your father and you going to be going
I've
forward?
I've gone through this last year. I've gone through this personally last year. We'll have to go through the same legal process this year. We will go through the same legal process this year.
And do you now think this is a Congress-BJP battle? Because really, are you then insinuating that the judge of the High Court was politically compromised? Is that your insinuation?
All I'm saying is please contrast the judgment of 20th August with the judgment of 23rd marks. That's all I'm saying. I think legal scholars must contrast two judgments on the same case, on the same facts. I mean, we just said that one was my father's anticipatory bail, one was mine. So just they must be the same facts and they must be the same case.
But that is an insinuation. That is an insinuation
I'm
against.
not insinuating. I'm just saying legal scholars must study both the judgments.
But when you say vendetta, which all of you have said, is that not casting an aspersion on the judiciary?
No. I'm only saying vendetta by the action of the government. I'm not saying anything about the judiciary. I'm not suggesting vendetta by the judiciary at all. I think only I'm saying that they must contrast both the judgments. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. Karti Chidambaram, thank you for talking to us.